Welcome to Simple Robotics, the podcast exploring the animation industry one episode at a time. I'm your host, Monique. You can find me on all social media platforms at Simply Robotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX. When listening to the show, use the hashtag Simply Robotics Pod to join in the conversation. So, as you can see by today's episode title, I'm going to be doing a movie review of the Invader Zim movie that came to Netflix last summer, and it's called Invader Zim Enter the Florpus. So it was initially released August 16th. I wrote down 2020, but I'm pretty sure, let me fact check. Excuse the clicking. Yes, August 16th, 2019. I'm even going to fix that in my notes. Moving forward, it was co-directed by Hae Young Jung, Young Kung Park, and Jonan Vasquez. It's based on the Nickelodeon TV show Invader Zim, which was written by Jonan Vasquez. Again, words, pronouncing words, Monique, get it together. And it aired from 2001 to 2006. And I actually didn't know it aired that long now that I think about it. That's quite interesting. So the production company for this film, it's Nickelodeon Animation Studios, and they collaborated with Maven Animation Studio in South Korea. Originally, the movie was created as a film straight for TV for Nickelodeon, but Netflix ended up buying the distribution rights in May of 2019. So then, just a couple months later, it was just released straight to Netflix. And according to Wiki, it received critical acclaim and with critics praising the animation, the humor, and the voice performances. So let me just tell you the Netflix description. It says when Zim reappears to begin the next phase of his evil alien plan to conquer Earth, his nemesis Dib Membrane sets out to unmask him once and for all. I probably should have done my trailer review first, but let me continue with the IMDb description now. It says that Zim discovers his almighty leaders never had any intention of coming to Earth. Oh, I think this is a spoiler. And he loses confidence in himself for the first time in his life, which is the big break his human nemesis, Dib, has been waiting for. Oh, snap. You're getting my reaction in real time. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so anywho, moving forward, yeah. So I'm just gonna talk about the trailer a little bit, then I'm gonna watch the movie. I'm gesturing and doing all these things like if there's a video component to this, and there's not. But I'm gonna go watch the I'm gonna talk about the trailer, then I'm gonna watch the movie, and then I'm gonna come back because I want it to be like super authentic. So I watched the trailer and I realized watching the trailer, I watched it like 2 or 3 times because I was like, "Dang, I guess I kind of forgot what Invader Zim was about." Like, I remember him just being an alien and the cartoon visual style being kind of like icky. Not like icky in the sense of like a cleaned, sharper, real monsters. Like, like it had that grittiness and that grime, but it still kind of made me like, ugh. Like, like it was kind of like, ugh. And so and watching the trailer, I was like, "Oh, okay, well, it seems like they're obviously staying consistent with that. It's even sharper and cleaner." But the first time we see Dib, he's like super gross. And I was like, "Oh, I'm really gonna do this. I'm really about to watch this movie." And I am. So Invader Zim is an alien in disguise as a human child, and he has his robot Gur, which I remember loving, and Gur is in a dog costume essentially because he's pretending to be, whatever, Zim's dog. And yeah, so I don't even really remember, unfortunately, Zim having a human nemesis. So I haven't I haven't probably watched Invader Zim since that 2006, 7, 8 era, 2006, I was 17. Um, and I was, yeah, entering my last year in high school. And I definitely remember watching it then, but I don't remember watching much Invader Zim in college, to be honest with you. So, college, I remember watching a lot of Chowder actually. Lots and lots of Chowder, which actually deserves its own proper episode because I got things to say about Chowder. Maybe someone should come talk, right? Should someone come talk with me about Chowder? Should I do it by myself? We'll figure it out. Besides the point, so there's a lot that I don't remember about Invader Zim. That's what the trailer reminded me, and the trailer did not give as much away as this IMDb description. Yeah, I didn't remember he had a nemesis, and so watching this movie should just be very interesting because let's see how much I remember, how much I don't. Besides it just being kind of like gross and unattractive style, I remember thinking Gur was cute and Zim was just like crazy and wild and not adapting to like human culture very well. But I kind of forgot that he was supposed to take over Earth. So this should be interesting. This should be fun. It's not a long movie. It's an hour and 11 minutes. So that's like 71 minutes. And thank God, because I mean, it should go by a breeze. And if what the critics were saying about the humor and the voice performances and the animation being so good, then it really should feel like the movie's flying by to a certain extent, you know? Not that they're rushing things, but like when stuff is bad, it drags. I'm sure y'all know that already. So I'm rambling now. Let me go watch this stuff and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have watched this thing now. Okay, I have watched it and let's just start talking about it, okay? So I'm actually going to read the plot as I saw it on Wikipedia, and it says when Zim and Gur suddenly reappear on their lawn after months of absence, an obese Dib who had been waiting their return confronts them. Zim reveals his disappearance was all a part of his plan to make Dib physically unfit to oppose him, allowing Zim to begin phase 2 of invading Earth. So, Zim contacts the almighty tallest to explain phase 2 to them, but realizes he has forgotten what phase 2 entails due to having been in hiding for so long. So, that's not really like a spoiler alert, but I feel like it's important that I kind of just get that out of the way because I wouldn't be able to tell it so properly. Also, what I found interesting was this statement that Nickelodeon made way back in the day saying that they canceled Invader Zim because of the poor ratings from the core demographic, which was supposed to be ages 2 to 11. Now, I was, as I said, like 12 or 13 when Invader Zim came on, and I did not think it was for kids that much younger than myself at the time. Like, interesting. So, in case you've never seen or heard of Invader Zim, I'm just going to talk about these three characters. I'm not really going to get into everybody. First off is the main character, or the character the show's named after, Zim. He's an alien that was banished to Earth, but he poses as a child while on Earth as he plots to take over the planet. Gur's so adorable. Gur, like I said, is a Zim's robot, and he actually poses as a dog. He has like this zip up costume. Now, I would say it's almost like a onesie that he gets into. And yeah, I loved Gur so much. And to the point where, like, after I got my first tattoo, I even wanted to get a Gur tattoo, but I just didn't do it for, whatever reason. Um, then, who's also important is he the antagonist? Is he not the antagonist? I'm not too completely sure. But Dib. Dib is a human child that is obsessed, okay, obsessed with proving to his father, who's a super scientist, that Zim is an alien. And he also wants to prove this to the whole world. The visual style, this is very graphic, it's actually almost like a comic book. The lines are so bold, the colors are so bold, and there's a lot of patterns and there's a lot of visual contrast between shapes and sizes and angles. There's a lot of things distorting and, like I said, contrasting to draw your eye to what they want you to pay attention to. And I really respect things like that. I like when things are dynamic and angled and warped, and because that's like, I'll get into that too. I also want to say that the visual style is still kind of gross. It reminded me enough of like Ren and Stimpy and, like I said, Are Real Monsters. And I appreciated in one aspect that it was still pretty consistent with the being as gross as I remembered it being, you know, like when we first see Dib, he's so gross. He has like stuff coming out his nose and his ears, and I'm just like, I want no parts. No, thank you. Moving forward, the animation style, it's 2D animated, you know, it's exactly from like what we remember. It's just digitized. I'm pretty sure they were doing some digital work, or you know, it was just older software, we can just say that, or maybe older techniques, but this looks so clean, so sharp, like you can probably get cut with how clean and sharp it is. I appreciate with the animation style that they stretch the characters a lot, they're contorting them, and you know, I just love it because why else make an animated TV show or film if you're not going to push the physics and push anatomy? You know, otherwise you can just use people and like prosthetics. There are some montages and moments in this film that are stop motion, and there's actually a part in the third act, I think it was a little bit, maybe even after the climax or something, where they show like a bunch of animation styles within 20 to 30 seconds. And I really love moments like that, you know? As far as the storytelling, I'm going to be very honest with you if I didn't say this in my trailer review earlier, that I didn't really remember what Invader Zim was about. I just remember being really entertained by the show. And then when I saw that the movie was on Netflix, I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, I used to like Invader Zim. I want to check out the movie, see what it's about. But yeah, I did not remember. I didn't remember what was his big deal. Like, why was he on Earth? What was he doing? I didn't remember that this kid was like, you know, trying to like be his like nemesis or something. Like, it's almost like who's the bad person? Like, we know Zim is bad because he's the alien that wants to take over Earth or whatever. But then also, like, is this boy did bad because he just won't leave Zim alone, you know, just like constantly harassing him? I would say that overall, I thought the story was pretty easy to follow, and I really appreciated the twist that I had. I knew that, you know, there's going to be unpredictable moments or like things aren't going to be smooth for a long period of time. And I didn't feel like with some other movies that I talked about, like I'm here, like, okay, I'm pretty sure somewhere around here this is going to happen. I feel like I was so caught up in what I was actually seeing on screen that I was at times detaching myself of where I was in the story. And I don't even think that's a good or bad thing. I'm just like, fine. I'll take it. I was engaged with this film like completely. Also, I like it was mentioned, Zim forgets his plan to take over the world, and he kinds of wings it for a while until he comes up with something better. And I just thought it was funny because in, you know, just speaking in cartoons, villains are so big and committed to telling everyone their plan all the time. And like, here's your chance. Tell us this great plan that you have and how we can't stop you from doing it. And you don't even know. You don't even have one. Like, what is what is that? Um so as I mentioned earlier, what were they called? They are called the Almighty Tallest, right? They were like super annoyed with Zim, and that's why they banished him to Earth. But they didn't tell him that he was banished. They just told him that he was going on this like special mission to Earth and that they would come and meet him. So he basically had to take over Earth, you know, whatever. And they were never coming to get him. They just wanted to be done with him. And there's a moment in the film, and I apologize, this may be a spoiler, skip ahead like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 seconds now. There's a moment in the film where Zim and Dib bond over this sentiment of trying to prove something or show your value to those who you look up to. And it was like oddly sweet. I could not believe this kind of gross, zany, wild film had a sweet, heartfelt moment to it. So, my final thoughts, I thought that this film does a great job with keeping the integrity of the early 2000s show and source material. It really made me miss how like Nickelodeon and other networks used to really push the envelope and push their boundaries and the limits with their shows. I can't even see like we got this Invader Zim movie because of something that came out like, you know, 17 years ago or something. Like math is not my strong suit. I'm not even going to play that. But I can't imagine completely a child's program coming out like this, like Invader Zim right now. Invader Zim right now, if it were to come out, would definitely be geared more towards adults. And I miss that kind of stuff, truth be told. So I don't know if I would willingly watch this again, you know? I maybe if someone were like, "Oh, I didn't know Invader Zim was on Netflix. You wanna check it out?" I'm like, "Well, I saw it already, and I actually wanna see what you think about it, so I'll watch it again." Like, that's how I feel about it. I don't have any regrets about watching this, though. I thought it was a wonderful blast from the past. It was a wild trip. I think truly and honestly, if you enjoyed the Invader Zim show back in the day, like as a child, as a teenager, however old you were, that you won't hate this. However, if you haven't watched like obtuse cartoons and just stuff that's really just like a lot of yelling, a lot of randomness, then you may cringe here or there. You know, I don't even, I guess, I don't know, maybe out of like a rating of 5, I might give it like a 3.5, you know? Yeah, I think that's it. I hope that this was great. This was like the shortest, this was such a short episode. It's so short, but I don't have much to say. I actually haven't been doing a great job looking for animation news, and I don't really know what's going on in the industry besides like myself and maybe a couple friends and stuff like that. So maybe not next episode, but the next solo episode that I do, I will try and get some animation news, like do maybe a roundup of stuff that's happened this summer because there was so much with the whole Black Lives Matter thing happening that I feel like any other animation announcements that could have come out were just maybe missed. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the show. As always, you can reach me on Twitter and Instagram at Simply Robotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX. My website, simplyrobotics.com. If you're listening on the iTunes podcast app on your cell phone or, Apple device, please rate the show on iTunes. I would greatly appreciate it. Use the hashtag Simply Robotics Pod to join in the conversation. I did do a little video element on Instagram, so let me know what you think. I don't know how often I'll be doing this, but my friend Jaren, who was on the previous episode before this, she just gave me some suggestions and I said it's not gonna hurt to try it. And so I did it. And we're here and man. Bye.